Hi, I'm Jake Birkett, and I haven't done any Pico-8 programming for over a month now on my Cyberjam game, but I'm going to do a bit today. So luckily I've got a to-do list to remind me what to do, and it says enemies should not respawn. So let me just explain what that's about. So if I run the game, currently if I destroy this green stuff and go off the screen, it stays, destroyed, but the enemies are respawning. See? Okay, and I don't really want the enemies to respawn if the green stuff doesn't respawn. So I need to find out a way to do that. Now let's have a look at the code. So what happens is I say when you hit a certain room, just create all the enemies, and that's why they respawn. It just always creates them when you go in the room. So to make them never come back, they need to sort of have a permanent data structure that persists across all rooms. Now I could just make a big list of them and add them all into the list and tag them with the room number, create them the first time you go in the room, and then mark them as dead after that. But actually I want to try something a bit more interesting, which is to actually I've just got to remember how all this stuff works, so bear with me. Yeah, so the idea is I want to actually put them on the map. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. I've forgotten how this works. What's delete? Oh, there's some kind of button which captures the background. That's it. Yeah, I want to be able to put enemies like this, sort of place them, plonk, 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 and I want them to automatically be spawned when the player goes into that room, and for them to move around accordingly based on their set patterns, and then if the player destroys them, for them to be gone. So basically I don't want to have any code, because I mean part of the problem with Pico-8 is you've got this limit. Well, it's not a problem, it's a sort of imposed limitation of 8,192 bits of code tokens. So if I keep creating all the enemies with all this code, that's a lot of tokens used up. So let's just try and delete this lot and see how many it frees up. 2413, yeah, like nearly 200. So if I can add them to the map directly, that would take up way less space, and it would kind of be cool because then I can visually see what's happening instead of guessing everything. So yeah, these first enemies, I quite like the way they spawned. Actually, they were sort of, let me just refresh myself as to where they were. Okay, oh right, yeah, okay, so I've almost got them in the right place, but they're staggered slightly. Yeah, let's go back to the map. Sorry, I've got a bit of a winter throat, shall we say. Right, so we've got the three enemies there. Now this code is sort of obsolete, except that I do want to always set the delta y, this is the movement in the y direction, to 0.5 for all of them, and the range, I'm not going to have a range anymore. They're basically going to need to sort of hit the edge and turn around when they hit the edge, so that's going to be some sort of enemy code we need to do. First off though, I want to spawn them, so this whole if room 1 thing I don't really need, but what I'm going to do is scan the map first. So scan this room, and if I detect an enemy sprite, spawn it with the default down parameter, and we'll add some more code to make them turn around. First I just want to make them even appear, so I've got to scan the room. I think I use mget for that. I've forgotten how many squares across and down it is for a room. It might be 20 or something. Is this a room? This looks a bit, it's not too zoomed in, is it? No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, it's going to be 16. 16? Let's run it and check. Yeah, 16. Okay, so it's 16 by 16. So we need to get a for loop going. Oops, I keep using shift. No shift in this editor. For y equals 0 to 15, For x equals 0 to 15, then we need to get the sprite number, so local enemy ID we'll call it, and we just call it ID actually, equals mget, I think that's what we'll do. Oh yeah, I've got to do the room calculation. So I mean I can do, you know, x comma y, I think that's the thing we want, but I need to multiply x and y based on the room you're in. Room must be a global variable I've set. I can't remember how I've done all this stuff. Let's go and have a look. I've got different tabs for the different codes. So this is the main code that runs the game. These are general functions. I thought I might have made some global variables in there. Must have put them somewhere. Sprites, player. Let's just go to the top. Room. Okay, player is part of room is part of player. Not really part of player class, because you don't really have classes in this. You have tables, and you can attach parameters to tables. So, okay, that's room. Now I've got some other code, collision code, in my general functions, which I'm sure takes room into account. Get room x. Yeah, plus x. Okay, so I've already sort of worked this stuff out. This calculates. Okay, get room x, fine. So I'm going to copy that, go back to my enemy spawning function. So we want to call get room x plus x. Is that right? Sorry, I'm just going to go back and check. Yeah. Looks like this is what I did anyway before. Get room y plus y. So just plonk that in. So this should get the enemy ID. Let's get our nexts in there. Next. Wait, is that not how for loops work? End? Is it end? Yep, end. And then end if, or what? Just end. This seems weird. Let's just check. If. End. Yeah, just end. Okay, I guess that's okay. And we don't want to do any of this stuff. Right, so we've got the ID, and then we want to create the enemy. So far I've just got a function called makeEnemy, which, let's just see what that does. Takes in the ID in the x and y locations, presume on the current screen. Not even sure about that anymore. Yeah. But it's not really setting any of the other parameters up. So this thing about the delta y, I'm going to want to set that. So this is, alright, so for ID 68 I'm going to want to set the delta y down here. Here we go. That's fine. That sets up the animation and the movement all in one. Okay. And I think I can safely kill out all of these things now. I'll leave the room 2 stuff in for now. Right. Let's just run that and see what happens. Oh, yeah, it's not creating it yet. So, make enemy ID, and we want it to be at x comma y. Let's see what happens. Doesn't work. Something expected near 2. Huh. Okay, is it because I need... I don't know what's the matter with it yet. Probably need to find another for loop to compare the functionality. This looks okay though. What's wrong with that? Y equals 0 to 15. just find another for loop. Nope. Any in the sprites? Probably not. Oh, here we go. I'm always using for loops like this in all, which iterates through everything in a table. Come on. This is ridiculous. Basic for loop fail. This is in all. In all again. Wow. Nothing in there. Nothing in particles, I expect. So I can't figure out how to make a for loop, it seems. Do. Is it the do? Aha! Okay. Do. Didn't say that in the errors, did it? No, didn't like it. For y equals 0 to 15. What is that? It's showing something expected near 2. It's like showing this weird symbol. Tab 4. Line 7, tab 4. I don't know what that means. 1, 2, 3, 4 maybe? I'm going to actually look up the help file, so bear with me. This is getting silly. For loop. Here we go. It's got stuff about tables. Oh, it's got a comma in it instead of 2. This is weird. Okay, I've actually not done one of these yet. So that's what it meant about. Let's do that. Run. Oh, okay. Shit, that looks a bit weird. Okay, I guess what's happened is for every sprite it's created something. So I'm going to have a filter on that code to only do it for enemies. Now if I just limit it, I say if it's greater than, what's that, 64 and less than, well, I'll just say greater than 64 for now. So let's have a look. If ID is greater than or equal to 64, do we use then? I think we do. Then make an enemy and let's try again. Yep. Right, so it's got 3 enemies. Now, they're not moving, that's a bit weird. I can blow up on them, fine. Can I shoot them? Yes, but they... Oh, okay. You know what? I've got to remove them from the map once I spawn them. So I can do that. So let's say I spawn them, make the enemy, mset, do the whole get room thing again. Feels like I ought to store those in local variables, but to be honest, it's probably so fast it's not really an optimization. Mset blah to 0. So this should spawn them and delete them from the map memory. Yeah, okay. So why aren't they moving? Make enemy, let's go and have another look. It might just be that they're not... Oh no, they're definitely animating, so they're in the right list. I thought it was 68. Set anim, enemy dy. It could be the range thing, because I didn't set the range or something. I'll do an experiment and just set the pattern instead. Just check that works. Comment. Okay. Nothing. Suspicious. So they're definitely animating. can't remember what shoot ID means. Oh, the bullet type. Right. I think it must be to do with the fact I'm not setting the range. Just saved. Or speed? Don't know. Yeah, the range. Let's just try and set a range and see what happens. Yeah, okay, that was it. Fine. Weird. Oh, that's because I set pattern 1. Okay, what about this? Does this work? Yeah, fine. So the problem is we can't really use this range thing anymore. We're going to just have to move the sprites, and when they hit a wall, turn them around. So I'll go and do the code for that. Oh, and by the way, this does solve our problem for not respawning, I think. Oh, crap. Sorry, let's try again. So I blow it up, go off the screen, come back on. Oh, there's none of them now. That's not good. Flaw in my plan. Huh. So, how can I fix this? I could say when you go out the room, put them back on the map. Just one way. Or the other way is I still have to add them to a persistent list and track them as sort of remove them from that list when they're dead. So what I might have to do, make a sort of giant list of enemies. Seems a bit silly though. I mean, it's more like I need 2 lists. One which is all enemies in the game, and one is the sort of current list, so I can copy them from that. Then I can spawn all the enemies at the beginning of the game. Let's I mean, I'll come back and fix the enemies patrolling pattern in a minute. I want to fix this issue first with enemies should not respawn. Yeah, like I feel okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm not too bothered about the enemies if I shoot them, about them coming back to the same positions. Sorry, if I don't shoot them, I'm not bothered about them coming back to the same positions when I exit a screen. They can respawn in the same place each time, but they mustn't respawn if they've been killed. So I think I need a data structure which is just, you know, it reads the whole map and removes them from the map. Yeah, removes them from the map, stores them in a data structure that it can use for spawning, and then every time you go in each room it will just make a sort of small list for the current room. So right, that's my enemy list, enemy bullets. I need a new list. Well, I call it a list, but it's a table in this. What's it going to be called? Enemy data. That's pretty good. So this is a mixture of code that's sort of reading the map and creating it in the same room, which we don't want. We want to make a function called make enemy data. Make enemy data, and we still need the sort of for loop stuff. But we're going to need a bigger for loop, which is the room. So I'm going to make a thing called, I'm just going to loop through room. Let's just look at the map again. I think I decided to use, yeah, I don't know how much of the map I'm going to use. if I use all the map, I can't use all the sprites, and vice versa. How many rooms have we got across? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 across, at least 2 down, maybe 4. So for now I'm going to for loop for room equals 0, comma, we'll call it 16, which is 2 rows of rooms. Do that. Yep. And then when we finished, reset room equals 0. So this is going to make enemy data. So we don't want to make the enemy, we want to make enemy data with the ID, and we're not going to create the enemy yet, just the data. So let's call this, copy this one, make enemy data ID blah blah. Right, actually I think we're going to need more information than this. We're going to need the room number. Probably just put that first. I can't call it room because that's a global variable, so E room, enemy room, I guess. Okay. So I'm going to call it local, local ed for enemy data equals, got this whole make sprite thing. I want to remember how to spawn a table object. So where are the sprites? Okay. Make sprite. Oh, you just put these square brackets in. Fine. Then you add it to the table you want at the end. Okay. Oh, you can return it just in case it's useful. So enemy data equals that. We want to add it to, what did I call the table? Enemy data. Don't know if I should be using. Yeah, underscore, that's alright. So we add it to, we don't care about that, we just want to call it enemy data. It's that ed, add it to that. Okay. Ed dot, what are we setting up? Enemy room. Right, we can just call it room, can't we? Equals e room. ed.id equals id. ed.x equals, what do I call it? Map x. Scroll, scroll, scroll. X map. X map. ed.y equals y map. Fine. Yeah, that's fine. So this is going to create some enemy data for the correct room, add it to my list returns, make enemy data. Make enemy data, so we're going to put room in there, room. We don't need to, oh yeah, we do need to clear it off the map, that's still true. Fine. Yeah. Oh, I put it in the wrong function. But yeah, this line I do need it up here. Mset. Yep. Clear it off. So I need to call make enemy data right at the beginning of the game somewhere. There must be some kind of initialization I used before. Draw init. Make player init room. Okay, so before we init room, we'll have to call make enemy data, and then init room will probably make the enemies. Yep. So if I'm just going to check this works by putting return in here, so it doesn't do anything. See if the code compiles. No. X or in expected is 0. Rooms 0,16. That's wrong anyway, it should be 15. Okay. Room equals 0,15. Okay. Expected. Symbol no if. Line 24. Oh, return. Doesn't like that. Null. Do I put null? Unclosed function. What the hell? Just return 1. Oh, unclosed function means I've screwed up down here somewhere probably. Running without. Maybe it's further up. 4 for 4, loads of ends, and I mean that all seems okay. Weird. Do you have to put n function? That's probably a mistake, isn't it? Yeah. Wow, syntax. Most of my time is spent messing around with the syntax, not actually doing the code. That's the beauty of learning a language. Once you get used to it, you don't have to mess around with all that stuff. Okay, so then, alright, it's doing more than I expected there. Let's stick the return back in. Well, this was just to check it ran. Doesn't run. Return 1. What? Unclosed function. But you should just be able to return. So if I delete that, it works. Huh. I do not understand. I mean, I've got a function there that I'm returning something. I've got to figure this out. So return 0 for the if unclosed function. I mean, I can stick end in there, but oh, is it down here? I have to put another one in. No. How strange. Alright, well I'll disable this code by putting in a comment there. What? I don't understand that. I need to figure out why. Some point. Alright, so there are the enemies. Good. But they're on the map, aren't they? In fact, we shouldn't even see them at the moment. It should be deleting them. It should be adding them to the data and then setting them to 0. So that's a bit weird. And then where I put them on the map. Because that is being called, right? I mean, I can test this by putting that to 1. Oh. Maybe it's not. Init. It must be being called. if I put in a bad symbol there. Yeah. Okay. So it's definitely being called. It's doing the for loop, but it's not clearing where the enemies are. As far as I can see. I don't understand why. If I delete that, no. This is very strange. I'll set one of my debug values. I think it's debug1 equals 1. Switch to, I haven't got the debug on? No. Show debug. Whoops. True. So that means debug1 is not being set there. Okay, fine. It's not being set. This is odd. I don't understand. Let's go back here and set debug1 there. Okay, that's set. That's set. Make enemy data. Debug1 is not set. What the hell? And I'll copy and paste that in case there's a anomaly, but we know that the symbol. What the hell? Okay, I'm really confused. Oh, I've got two of them. Oh my god. I don't know how that happened. Whoops. Okay. This explains everything. I want to make an enemy data structure. This ought to be called read enemy data then, maybe. Wow, what a dumbass mistake. That's coding, folks. Yep, now debug is being set, and in fact if we go in the other room there should be no enemies. Oh, okay, they're still there. Let's go and figure out why. Oh yeah, we'll set room to 1, that should start me there. Yep, okay. So we've got our function back, hurrah. So why is it not clearing them? This used to work when I was creating the enemies dynamically. If you're watching this at home and are despairing, I apologise. Oh, let's stick a debug in and we'll check it's getting here. Debug1 equals 1. No, it's not getting there. Why not? This for loop it is. That is the ID greater than or equal to 64. And it claims that that never happens. Yet this sprite is definitely sprite 68. So something weird going on here. Maybe I'll set the ID. I want to sort of print out the IDs, but I haven't got a decent way to do that. I think you can apparently set the debug from Pico-8 out to a file. This just should work. It worked before. What about if I just do for room equals 1 to 1? Okay. If ID is greater than 0, then debug 1 equals 1, and let's try that. Yeah, so we've definitely got some IDs above 0, above 64, 0. Yet I'm looking at, 64, 68. This makes me think this room loop isn't working properly. I've got to do a little test. If ID is greater than debug 1, then debug 1 equals ID. So we'll just set debug to be the highest value, 21. What's the highest value in room 1? 21. Sprite bang. That 21. Should be 22. Oh yeah, 20. Don't know what. So it's still doing it in room 0. Because that is only in room 0. Suspicious. Okay. So room is not being used properly. Debug 1 equals room 1. Get room X we already looked at. Oh, how do I search again? Is it Control G? Yeah. This is weird. Maybe okay. Yeah, I thought this worked before. Just trying to figure out why I'm dividing by 8. Because there's 8 across the map. Yeah, okay. So we're really getting stuck by something stupid here, probably. Room claims it's 1. Get room X. Well, maybe I'll print out what that is then. Just to check. Print, set debug. Debug 1 equals get room X. 0. That's wrong. Oh my god, I think I know what it is. So I'm using this value room to do the loop, and I was assuming it would use, this is a dumbass mistake of course, I was assuming it would use this global variable, reuse it, but it's not. It is creating a local variable called room, and of course room X uses the global variable. So I need something like R, and then I need to set room equals R. So set the global variable up. Just put a comment in here. Through all rooms and create enemy data structures. Yeah, okay. No, I don't structures is the right thing. Okay, that should work. Yeah, good. They're not there, which is what I expect. Fine. Let's get rid of the debug stuff. This makes the enemies fine. And then when you go into a room the first time, it needs to say, forget what room number it is. We don't need any kind of loops like this. We need to loop through the big data structure, enemy data here. Find the one we want. I need this weird for loop, which is the ones with all in. I can't quite remember the format. Okay, here we go. So you go into a room for enemy data in all enemy data. Oh, I've got an issue with this, I've just realised. Let's code this for now and see what happens, but I've just realised another problem. Like do whatever and then end. Okay. So if ed.room matches the current room, then create it basically. So we want to make enemy, we want to pass in enemy data.id, enemy data x, enemy data y. That'll work. Yep, perfect. Oh, then no. Get double equals. It's an evaluation. Okay. Yeah. Good. So far it's working. It's reading from the map, it's creating the enemies. If I destroy one of them, it's actually going to come back because I haven't cleared it from the enemy data list. So I think, yeah. The problem is when you kill one, I need to be able to link back to the enemy data list and clear it from that, not just the local list, which is a bit of a pain. Because then it's going to need sort of a unique ID to clear it from the main list. I can't just clear it when I read it the first time because you might go out the room and come back in and it needs to recreate it. So yeah, I'm going to have something like enemy. This seems clunky. I want there's a better way to do this. Is 0 for now, and this also means I can't spawn enemies dynamically, but we'll figure that out later. Enemy data, great. So when I create one enemy data, I'm going to set ed.index equals enemy data index, then I'm going to increment that. Was it plus equals 1? I can't remember. Yep. So that's a unique index. Fine. When I create the enemy, I'm going to have to pass in ed.index as well. Then in make enemy, not enemy data, make enemy, yeah. I need e.index equals index. I'm going to pass it in there. Yeah, for now I'm just going to put zeros in these so that it compiles. Okay, so each one's got a unique index. When it's destroyed, bullets. Clear enemies. No. Must be somewhere in the player stuff where I'm dealing with the bullets. Bear with me. Move bullets. Bullets versus enemies. Here we go. Deletes it from there. That deletes it from the sprites. Why is it doing both? Oh, it's the enemies in the... Must be deleting the player bullet. I must have put it in sprites. I thought I'd have had... This is a bit strange. So I'm just going off on one here, checking what list. Bullets. There. Make a bullet. Move bullets. Oh, okay, it's just the name of the sprite passed in the bullet, fine, and the enemies will get found, fine. Anyway, when we delete the enemy, we need to call, I guess, delete enemy. I can't remember. Yeah, okay. If I use underscores or not, they shouldn't really do that in function ends, but you've got to here because you can't do camel case, so you've got to stick something in the middle to make it readable. So we want to delete the enemy. Let's do that first. E, fine. And back in the enemy class, I don't know where to put this down here, is fine. Shall put it up. Function, delete enemy E, end function. I don't see an easy way to do this. Basically it's a bit laborious, but I'm going to have to do a for loop for enemy data in all enemy data. I have to loop through all the enemy data, and if ed dot dot index equals the enemy index that I'm passing in, then we're safe to delete it. Del enemy data comma when we're doing ed. Yeah, hopefully the for loop won't screw up by deleting something in the middle of it. I think they've covered that already. That's a comparison, always catches me out. Still doesn't like it. Let's look at the code. Do if then, you have to put then in. Name expected near function. Oh right. We don't use function. Fine, so I think we've finally done it, jeez. So it's blown up, go off the screen, come back on. Yes, they've persisted. They reset positions, but they've persisted. Cool. Yeah. Alright. Wow, that was a pain in the ass. Oh, I've shut it down by accident. I didn't mean to do that, but I'm going to stop recording here and make another video soon anyway. Bye for now.